Free, Dr. Yo. WNT9 RADIO, and I'm your host, Brother Intellect. And today we have on the line with us Brother Michael Mitchell, a.k.a. Imhotep Z Khufu. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. Can't complain. Thanks for having me on the show.
No doubt, no doubt. We heard you took a trip out there to the motherland, and we definitely had to, hear just how everything went down. And but before we get into that, we go a little ways back. You want to tell little people, give them a little, history about yourself?
Well, me and you met. We met in the Asaru community.
No doubt.
Back in maybe like '91.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how far back me and you go. So I have like a foundation in the Asaru community. I studied various schools under, different frames of thought, different schools of thought. Like, I was motivated at first by Malcolm X, Malachi, El-Shabazz, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I basically studied most of the black leaders and their teachings over the years, and that led me to wanting to know my African roots.
Which most of us actually want to pursue, that study. But you actually took that trip to the motherland. When was it that you actually took that journey?
I took the journey in April 2016. Actually, that wasn't my first trip to the motherland.
Wow. Okay.
At the age of 40, I traveled to Ghana, which is another one of my ancestral homes. And through DNA testing too, I found out that I have ancestry in Cameroon.
Wow.
On my father's side, and the Upper Guinea region on my mother's side, which includes Senegal, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea-Bissau.
You all up in there. Wow, okay.
I was basically trying to make it to one of the countries that I share ancestry with.
Right.
And, I was able to make it to Cameroon, and I visited the Malachi ethnic group, as well as the Tikar ethnic group. Those are two of the ethnic groups I share ancestry with on my father's side. And they showed me a lot of love, and they had a big ceremony in each of those villages that I visited.
Wow. So you was treated like a king, or like you was given the royal treatment.
Yeah, it was a royal treatment, man. It was like a lost child returning home.
Wow.
From the time I came off the plane at the airport, there was a big crowd of people to greet me there.
What?
Big celebration, and they with lots of food, and the women that came to greet me were singing for me and everything.
Wow, now that's big, man.
It was beyond my expectations.
Wow.
And they treated me royally through the whole trip. the whole time I was there. Every time I went to a village, they treated me like a lost son coming home.
Now, what village was this again?
The Tikar village I went to, I actually visited 2 Tikar villages. One was Bang Kim, and I visited the king of Bang Kim, who was King God II. And I also visited the king of Bratikon, the Bratikon kingdom, was another Tikar kingdom. And the king threw a big ceremony for me over there and inducted me as a notable in the kingdom.
Wow. So you actually have bloodline that you revisited.
Yes. You know, all of that was unexpected. My whole intent was just to go there, touch down on the soil, visit these villages, meet the kings, and they were supposed to bless me with a name, and I was supposed to keep it moving. that was my thought when I arrived over there, but it was more than what I expected. When I got there, they had the police commissioner.
Wow.
Well, the king said, I was staying at a private residence. The king sent musicians like about 7 o'clock in the morning to wake me up. So I woke up and I heard all this music going on outside. And
wow.
The prince that I traveled with, he was like, the king sent musicians here to wake you and greet you, for the ceremony. So I just, got up and threw my stuff on real quick and went outside and was enjoying the music. Then they had the police commissioner come over there, and he picked me up and drove me over to the ceremony. And once I got to the village, the Tikar warriors came and greeted me, and they picked me up and carried me in the air.
Wow. Wow.
And carried me into the village.
Now, at that time, you didn't expect any of that at that time.
No, I didn't expect any of that.
Wow.
All the people from the village was out there to greet me. Yeah, so it was like a big return home celebration.
So this music that was being played, was it like live, drumming, etc., or was it like something, a recording?
He sent the live. No, it wasn't recorded. He sent the live drummer.
Wow.
Another brother that was playing one of their traditional horn instruments.
Wow. And all this because you was returning home.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, they were playing for a long time too. It was like it took a while for me to get up and get dressed and everything, and they played the whole time.
Wow.
And when I got outside, they were still playing.
Man, I don't even know how I would embrace that. I mean, that's has to be an absolutely humbling experience, man.
Yeah, it was. I was just taking it all in, and once I got there, they instructed me that they were going to prepare me for the ceremony. They took me inside the sacred house where the priest goes to communicate with the ancestors, and where they crown the king. They in there, and from what I was told, they don't bring anybody in there. Only the priest goes in there. Just the average person from the village is not allowed to go in there. And they said I'm the first person from the outside to ever go in there.
Wow.
They dressed me in the traditional attire for the ceremony. They washed my feet.
Wow.
The palm oil, and he instructed me how to proceed outside of the sacred house. He had, it was like a procession, and I was walking with a young child in the front. With the young child symbolized innocence, and they kind of like opened up the door, the gateway to the spiritual world.
That's heavy.
And,
wow.
Yeah, and as we walked, they had people running in front of us laying mats down on the ground for us to walk on, so our feet wouldn't touch the ground.
Wow.
And they had women standing on each side of us, pouring cold water on my feet as I walked. You know.
And this was to keep your feet warm, or what?
It was sort of like cleansing my path as I walked.
Oh man, wow.
Yeah.
They covered everything. Wow.
They covered everything. And then, you know, once I got to the area where the king was, the whole induction ceremony concluded at, they had a special stool for me to sit on. And, you know, they actually gave me that stool to take home with me, you know. And they have a replica of that stool there at the kingdom. So the next time I come back to visit, they're going to bring that stool out for me to sit on.
Wow.
You know, all the attire I wore in the ceremony, they gave it to me to take home.
Wow. So you mean to tell me you got linked through doing the, what is it called?
The DNA test?
Yeah, you just went and basically hired someone to do a DNA test in Africa?
No, I actually, I went to the Black Arts Festival here in Atlanta. They had a company called African Ancestry there.
Yeah, I heard of them.
And I went to the booth and I was asking questions, and they was like, let me know I can trace my ancestry back to the motherland and find out the actual ethnic group that my ancestors came from. So I was like, wow, I jumped on it right away. It was kind of, pricey, but I went straight to the ATM and took the money out. And purchased it.
Right.
Just two right off that, one for test my line and test, my father's line. So that's how that happened. And that was back in 2007. And, over the years, I said, I'm going to make it there. And I was talking to a few people trying to find out, the best route to go.
Right.
I was contacting travel agencies and all that, and it was kind of expensive, so I was, it took me a little while, and then I finally, through networking and stuff like that, I connected with a brother who put me on to a prince from the Tikar region, and he said he would take me over there at no charge. All I had to do was pay for my plane ticket.
Wow.
So I went over there. I stayed at his family's residence, and every place that we traveled around, the country, I stayed at, private residences and stuff like that. So I didn't have to really pay for no hotel. They fed me every day, so it was like I really didn't have to pay for any food. I just basically bought a little food on the road.
Right.
With traveling and stuff like that. But
right.
Basically, when these people invite you into their homes and they're hosting you, it's like part of their tradition. They won't let you leave unless you eat. So even if you're going for 20 minutes, once you come to the house and you sit down, you're not going to leave until they feed you.
Got to get it in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there were days that I ate like multiple times in a day because everybody you visited, bought a meal out for them.
Wow. So you actually gave the company that did the research, you gave them your basic parents' names and they took it from there?
No, they sent I purchased the DNA test kits. And the DNA test kits come with a cotton swab. And they give you instructions to swab inside of your cheeks. And the cheeks extract the DNA.
Right.
From the tissues inside of your mouth.
Right.
And you put that in the envelope and you mail it back to them, and they send it to the lab for DNA analysis. And they have a database of thousands of African DNA in their database, and they compare your DNA with those thousands of Africans and ethnic groups in their database, and they looked for a match, and they found my match with the Bamileke, Tikar, and Hausa of Cameroon, on the side, and then on my side, it was the Kula of Guinea-Bissau, the Mende of Sierra Leone, the Crew of Liberia, and Mandinka of Senegal.
You had to be shedding a lot of tears in this process, man. I mean, I can imagine, man. Wow.
I wasn't shedding any tears, but it was like I was on a supernatural high.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It was definitely a dream come true, you know, because I never thought that I would make it to Africa.
Right.
You know, because it was expensive, you know, to travel, and I never thought I would make it there. And when I went to Ghana, I went the year I turned 40. I said, for my 40th birthday, I want to go to the motherland. And I saw the movie Sankofa, and that inspired me to go to Ghana for my 40th birthday.
Now, what is that movie called?
Sankofa.
Sankofa. Okay, so that's what is that? A new movie or what?
No, it's a movie. I think it was made in the early '90s about a sister who was over there in Ghana. American sister who went over to Ghana, and she was a model, and she was over there taking some modeling pictures, and over there where they had the slave castles on the coast in Ghana, and she got possessed by the spirit of the ancestors over there.
Wow.
And it was, the essence of the movie was to return back to your roots, to retrieve what you lost.
Right.
You know, that was the essence of the movie. Because when the sister came over there, she didn't have any sort of knowledge of her culture or history. She wasn't really connected with that. She basically got possessed by the spirit of her ancestors, you know, and, it went through a whole storyline, you know, I believe it was her, what her ancestors went through, you know.
Now, where did you see this on a cable network or what?
No, I actually purchased the video.
Okay.
The video, I forgot how I found out about the movie, but I purchased the video, and I was like, I gotta go there one day. You know, it's like no return.
Right.
Return to the home of my ancestors.
Right.
And I did that. I went to the actual place where the movie was filmed. You know, the actual slave castles over there on the Cape Coast in Ghana.
Wow.
You know, I visited those actual slave castles, and you know, I went inside the dungeons where they kept the male African enslaved men and women. You know, I actually went to the door of no return where they marched them down to the sea to be to Caribbean and to the Americas.
So did you take that journey by yourself, or was it like a family thing?
I went with my family at that time when I went to Ghana. This time when I went to Cameroon, I went by myself with the prince that I was introduced to. The prince he's a Tikar prince from the Gambia Tikar over there in Cameroon.
So the first time you went, it was just, you know, basically it was a journey for the family, and then this time, the most recent time, they done gave you it was a whole nother experience.
Yeah, it was me and my lady at the when I went to Ghana. This time it was me by myself, and you know, went over to Cameroon. I basically hung out with this Tikar prince the whole time.
So is it anything like for those of us who haven't been? I've never been. So is it anything like the movies, man? Like I mean, you know, the parties look like they just be off the hook. You know.
Ghana was more modernized. You know, I'm not gonna say modernized. I'd say more developed. You had a lot of areas where you could go to enjoy a good nightlife, party, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I did get a chance to do that while I was there. I enjoyed myself.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, Cameroon has it as well, but my focus was a little different, you know, when I went to Cameroon. You know, when I went to Ghana, it was more touring the country, visiting the slave castles, you know, making the reconnection there with my ancestors. But it was more of a leisure trip when I went to Ghana. When I went to Cameroon, it was strictly reconnection and learning about the culture and traditions. You know, I might have visited like maybe 2 or 3 touristic sites that basically were like waterfalls and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see the natural beauty of places. But the trip to Cameroon was mainly about reconnecting with those ethnic groups and having ceremonies in those villages and learning about the culture.
Wow.
I also visited one of the ports that Africans were shipped out of in Cameroon, a place called Bimbia. You know, that's off the coast over there in Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Africans were captured and shipped out from that port as well. But, you know, I felt at home there, you know.
Right.
And although I am a light-skinned brother, it was like, you know, most of the people were dark-skinned.
Right.
Nobody looked at me as if I was out of place.
Mm.
And you do have light-skinned brothers and sisters over there. You do have Asian and you do have Caucasians over there. But I was walking around in the streets and I was just observing the environment and observing the vibe that I was getting from the people. And it was like they were walking past me like I wasn't even, like I was from there.
Like you was from there. Wow.
Yeah. Nobody looked at me like I was I was somebody that was out of place.
Wow.
When I went to Ghana, you know, a lot of people, you know, they saw me as a tourist. You know, they were running up on me, trying to, you know, sell me different, you know, items and stuff like that.
Hmm.
They knew I wasn't from there.
Right.
When I was there in Cameroon, people walked past me casually and everything like that. And they were going on about their business. It was like they didn't even notice me. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
You know, it was like I was just another person, you know, from there, walking around doing my business.
Well, you that's where you was going back to, tracing your bloodline, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they I guess they like you fam. You ain't you not out of place here. You fam. So.
Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful, man. That's powerful. And
It's only when I went to certain places and I was trying to buy stuff where I couldn't speak French, that's when they knew that I wasn't from there.
Right. Wow.
I had somebody, you know, if I wanted to buy anything, I had them purchase it for me. You know.
So French is the predominantly the first language?
The country is, you know, part of the country speaks French and part of the country speaks English. The French part, they call it the Francophone area. And the English part, they call it the Anglophone area because that country was colonized by the British and the English. I mean, the British and the French. You know, so the French, you know, the part that was colonized by France, they speak French. And the part that was controlled by Britain, they speak English. But prior to that, they were colonized by Germany.
Right.
You know, before that, it was Portugal. We have like a history of different European countries colonizing over there.
Now, when you observe that, those are things that I remember being taught by Dr. Malachi Z. York. And when you say those things, when you were realizing that while you were there, did you think about the teachings of Dr. Malachi Z. York? Like just any experience there that made you think of something that Dr. York has said or taught?
One thing that I thought about was back in the Asaru law school, where he taught that our ancestors are from the Sudan and stuff like that. The family ANC car, their oral history states that they come from the Sudan, from the Nile Valley region of the Sudan.
Wow.
And they migrated to where they're at now, presently in Cameroon.
Wow.
Also, I took a DNA test that traces an ancient ancestry. And Sudan and Cameroon came up, you know, when I took that particular test. There's different DNA tests out here that can tell you different things about your ancestry.
Right.
Analyzing your DNA.
Right.
And Cameroon and Sudan, you know, came up with that. So that coincides with the family ANC car's oral history of them coming from the Nile Valley region in Sudan.
Wow, that's pretty heavy, man.
That made me think about when you know, Malachi York had said that, you know, we originally came from Sudan. And I noticed that the Mende people and you know, the Mandinka and a lot of Fulanis and all that, you know, over there on the Upper Guinea region, they have that same migration story. Some of them say they come from Egypt, some Sudan, but you know, basically all of them migrated over to West and Central Africa from the Nile Valley region.
So this trip actually makes you, if you want to look into your or research, have anybody research your lineage, your family bloodline, you definitely, it seems like you automatically become a historian within yourself.
Yeah.
Because you talking tribes like.
The thing with African Americans and Africans in diaspora in the Caribbean and so forth, doing genealogical research, at some point you're going to hit a wall, you know, when you try to go, you know, back, tracing your ancestry using the paper trail, finding out who your grandmother was, your great-grandmother.
Right.
It's going to go but so far back because due to the transatlantic slave trade, you know, that link was cut. That link was cut. So once you get to a certain point back, you know, you don't know what country in Africa your ancestors came from. You know, what region they came from, what ethnic group they came from, all that stuff is lost.
Right.
You know, and you know, they took Africans from many different places in West and Central Africa, and they all mixed in with each other, and they weren't allowed to hold on to their culture or their language and stuff like that. And once they got over to the Americas and the Caribbean and stuff like that, and they were taught the colonizers' language, you know, all that information was lost.
Wow.
The only way to trace your bloodline back beyond the slave ship to the continent, you have to take a DNA test. And I believe that, you know, the higher power and the ancestors worked it out that this technology would come into play to help us reconnect. Because prior to that, we could only guess. We could read books. Drew Ali,
right,
or Marcus Garvey, and say, hey, you know, this was a great kingdom in Africa, you know,
right,
a great kingdom from Morocco. And then, you know, a lot of us would say, yo, we're Moors from Morocco. You know, some would say we were Ethiopians. You know, some of us would say we were Egyptians. You know, anything that we read about that sounds like greatness on the motherland, we would try to claim that. Now with the DNA testing technology, we know for sure where our ancestors came from. So we don't have to say, all right, I'm from this tribe in Ethiopia, or I'm from this place in Morocco, when that wasn't so, because most of the Africans that were taken to the Americas and to the Caribbean weren't from North and East Africa and stuff like that. So, it was mostly West and Central Africa. People may argue and say, hey, they talk about different migration patterns. Yeah, all that stuff is true, but when the actual trade was going down on the coast, it was on the West and Central Africa. That's where most of the Africans came from. And we have some people who say that we were already here. That's another story. That's another aspect of the story. Our people did travel over here willingly in the past, but it's still up for debate as to whether or not we were indigenous living here.
Right. So that your whole journey altogether, the trip, how long did you actually stay in Africa?
I was in Cameroon for 2 weeks. I was in Ghana for 10 days. But that was 2 separate trips. Yeah. I also made it over to Egypt and to Nubia.
Wow.
And I just want to say about that when I went over there, it was all love. They like, welcome home, cousin, welcome home, brother.
Wow.
So,
wow.
The farther south I traveled in Egypt, the darker the people got. Most of the Arab-looking Egyptians, they're around the area like Cairo and stuff like that.
Right.
Once you start going down towards, Aswan and Luxor and all of that, the people are like dark skin, brown to reddish skin tone to dark black skin.
Wow. And this is something that you actually observed. The deeper you got down, the more darker the complexion of the skin was.
Yes.
Wow.
So you can see it on the walls and in the temples and stuff like that too. The paintings on the wall and everything like that.
Now, did you get a chance to actually go inside of any of the temples?
Yeah, I went to the pyramids in Giza. I went to I visited the Luxor temple, the temple of Philae.
Wow.
Basically all the major temples over there. I visited just about all of them.
Now, I saw years ago they were saying that I saw a program, a documentary they was doing, and they was saying that a lot of the sculptures and everything was being redone. Like they were making the Egyptians a lighter complexion opposed to their original complexion. Did you notice anything like that?
No, I didn't see anybody over there like redoing anything or trying to refurbish anything. But I have seen pictures and books of scientists and archaeologists or whatever field they were working in, like touching up some of the paintings over there. So I didn't actually see any of that going on over there.
Right. Wow, that has to be like the most beautiful experience, man, for a Nubian in America to actually make that journey back, and not just go back, but actually be connected to their own bloodline, man. That has to, like, you talk about DNA explosions. that has to be wow.
Yeah, to me that was like that's been the highlight of my life.
Wow.
I still keep in contact with everybody over there. You know, I'm in constant communication with people in the village and people still living over there. Recently, I sent some school supplies over there for the children in the village.
That's heavy, man. That's beautiful.
It's all love. It's all love. You know, they're looking forward for me to come back. The king has some land for me over there. You know,
wow.
Yeah.
Now, you was given land?
Yeah, he gave me my own land that I could build my own house on.
What?
And, yeah, he made me a notable in the village, so that was like, you know, I'm part of.
So you basically you live there then. I mean, you got a home to go to or a home to build. You got land to build on, man. Wow.
Yeah. You know, they gave me a birth certificate and all that other stuff. You know, after the
wow.
ceremony. They gave me like paperwork with the king's seal and signature and everything like that on there.
Now, something like that, does that make you a citizen?
No, not a citizen of the country, but he just basically gave me something to remember my ceremony, my naming ceremony, my induction ceremony.
Right.
And made me a member of the village and the kingdom.
So it's basically an honorable notoriety, something that you can definitely take with you, no matter where you go on the planet. You definitely take that with you to heart because you have a family there. That's your bloodline, man. And
you know, when I left there too, I was like, wow, they made me a noble in the village, and I wasn't taking it too seriously because I was like, you know, that was my first time going over there. This is probably like an honorary title and stuff like that.
right.
And the two T-Car brothers that was with me was like, yo, you need to take this seriously. I said, this is a serious thing. You are noble in the village, and they kept emphasizing that to me throughout the whole trip.
Wow.
And they was like, they don't do that for anybody. So they consult the ancestors before they do anything.
Right.
You know, and the brother of the prince that took me over there, he said he was shocked and surprised that they did it.
Wow.
He said, well, you can't go against their decision because they make their decisions based on consultation with the ancestors. And I guess that's what they were led to do.
Wow. So
Making their consultation. Even the name that they give you, you know, is not something they just come off the top of the head with.
oh, so you had a name ceremony too?
Well, they gave me a name while they gave me the induction ceremony. It was like combined.
Right. Wow. So to hear all of that, basically they consulted the ancestors and they must have asked the question, you know, is he of this tribe? Can he return home to this tribe? And the answer must have been yes.
Yeah.
That's powerful, man.
Before I even went over there, I had to show proof that I traced my ancestry using the DNA technology. I sent a copy of this to get to the brother that took me over there, you know, to confirm that I actually traced my ancestry there. And then, you know, he said that they have to go through certain rituals and stuff like that for them to come up with my name and consult them on what to do when I come over there.
Right.
But that was one village. I had another ceremony in another village. That was the Pikar village. I had a ceremony in the Bamileke village too, because I have ancestry over there with the Bamileke people. And they had a ceremony for me over there, but it was just like a naming ceremony. And you know, it was like a celebration. They had food and everything. They had the governor come out to greet me, the mayor and stuff like that. And you know, that was like just basically a naming ceremony. I wasn't inducted as a notable in that village or anything like that, but the king did name me after his grandfather. So I got two names when I went over there.
Wow.
You know. Yeah.
This is an inspiring story, man. This is definitely a success story, especially coming from the path that we walked. This is definitely because everything that Panabab Yanun ever always taught us, that also known as Dr. Malachi Z. York. Everything that he taught us really is just all about the motherland, Africa. Going back home. To the land of our ancestors, man. And for you to actually do that, that's real powerful, man. That's man.
What's so funny too when you taught us that, we are from Sudan and stuff like that, and back in the days, I used to go to the Arab delis and stuff to get my turkey heroes or whatever.
Right.
They used to call me Hashem from Sudan because I used to tell them I was from the Sudan. Brother Hashem from the Sudan. Walk through the door, and come to find out, this is years before I even took the DNA test.
Right.
That ethnic group over there in Cameroon, they say they came from the Sudan.
Right, which
they test says I have deep ancestral roots in Sudan, so it was like, wow, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it makes it even more of a home run, man. It's real powerful.
Yeah.
It's real powerful. I really encourage everybody, man, that not just, even if you somebody that's been to Africa already, like go back, but after go back another time, but in the process of that journey, like go back with that that investigation of your bloodline, man, and take that journey, because that's a whole nother journey. As you describing it, it's like it was a whole nother rhythm to it and a whole nother feel to it than it was when you went the first time. So
yeah, it definitely was. The first time I didn't know, I knew where I traced my ancestry to. And at the time I went to Ghana, I just wanted to go back to that point, do a little turn. I actually do have Ghanaian ancestry too, because I took an autosomal test that looks at all of your DNA. When I said I had the ancestry going back to Cameroon on my father's side, on my mother's side, that was just two different lines. When they look at all of your DNA, they could tell you some of the other places that your ancestors came from, because as African Americans and people of African descent in the Caribbean, we're mixed with a whole bunch of different ethnic groups.
Right.
And Ghana was there too. According to one test, my African DNA comes from Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
The second largest portion of my DNA from Africa comes from Ghana, and then the third, Nigeria. And then there's some other, other trace regions too, which coincide with on my mother's side too, like Mali and Senegal and stuff like that.
Now let me ask you this. When you was out there was talk of it's obviously everybody knows about Ethiopians and Egyptians. Was there any relation or acknowledgement to Cushites, Hamites, Shemites, Ashanti, those particulars? Did you hear anything in relative to them?
When I went to Egypt.
Yeah.
When I went to Egypt, I didn't really ask anything pertaining to that when I went to any of those places. But I noticed, the people in the area like Luxor and Aswan. That's where the Nubians live at. That's why I found out that the Nubians live at. And that area is once, those are the same people that you find in Sudan. That was all one area. Prior to Africa being divided up, there was no line over there, no border line set saying this is a different country from this country. You know what I'm saying? They were all like, you know, the boundaries that they had back then is different from what they had today. Those are all basically the same people.
Right.
You know, and they were all brown, dark-skinned people over there. And to go back real quick to when you was asking if I saw anything like anyone like the images over there, all the images I saw over there, all of the images were brown-skinned people. You know, brown-skinned, dark-skinned people. I didn't see any light images over there.
Wow. Okay. Not that there aren't any, there just wasn't any publicly.
I didn't see any at all.
Wow.
I've seen pictures like in the areas like near the Mediterranean Sea, like, you know, going towards like, northern Egypt, like where you're close to Greece and all that. I've seen pictures of light images over there, but I didn't actually visit that area.
Wow, man.
So those areas were closer to Greece and Rome and all that other stuff.
Right. Now, this is such a powerful experience. There's a brother named Dr. Kwesi. I'm sure you're familiar with him. Yeah. Yeah, and he's known for taking trips and bringing loads of people with him, back and forth to Africa, to Egypt specifically, and something like that, man. I always wondered, like, I know they have to be getting some type of shots, like you just can't get on a plane and go, what type of process is that, to get the shots you need to get and all of that?
Well, to go to Egypt, I didn't have to get any shots or anything like that to go to Egypt.
Okay.
All you have to do is, when you land in Egypt, you get the visa right there at the airport. So I didn't need any shots or anything. I actually wanted to travel with Asaru Kwesi in the past. I watched many of his videos, him and Dr. Ben. I learned a lot from those two master teachers right there as well. And, unfortunately, Dr. Ben has passed on.
Right.
And the brother, Asaru Kwesi, I was looking into trying to go with him, but the price was just, the cost of his tour and everything, the whole trip was too much for me at the time.
Right.
So I basically, went through a tour company, and they do have Egyptologists taking you around, giving you information. And from the videos I watched of Dr. Ben and of Asaru Kwesi, they really didn't tell me anything different. They didn't try to whitewash the stories or anything like that. I saw Dr. Ben's video is what the Egyptologists told me when I went there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
But when I went to West Africa, like Ghana and Cameroon, I did have to get a shot. I got the yellow fever shot when I went to Ghana, and the yellow fever shot is good for 10 years. So you can't go over to West or Central Africa without that yellow fever shot, regardless of how you feel about vaccines or whatever. You can't get around it whatsoever. If you want to go over there, you have to get the yellow fever shot, and you have to show proof that you had that shot when you get over there. They give you a yellow card, that's stamped, and when you go over there, you have to show it to them before you enter the country.
Wow. And it's not so much.
For 10 years.
It doesn't sound like so much from a shot that's based on you catching something. Sounds like both ways. Maybe from you actually giving them something too. Just from the air that you breathe.
Well, the yellow fever shot. The yellow fever is mainly like a tropical disease. So if you come from the United States, that's not really to protect them. That's really to protect you. When you go over there, because you may it's a possibility that you could get yellow fever while you're over there. And they also suggest other shots, but yellow fever is the only shot that's mandatory. And,
right.
they do recommend that you take malaria medication before you go and while you're there and for a little period when you get back, because malaria is prevalent over there in a lot of areas, and just about everybody I know that's traveled over there, that didn't take malaria medication got malaria.
Wow. Like once they came back to the States or what?
Some while they were there, and some experienced the symptoms when they came back to the United States.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can buy the malaria medication over there cheaper than getting it over here. But it's better to have it in your system when you get over there. So if you do get bit by a mosquito that's infected with that has malaria, medication in your body will kill it. Because of the medication will already be in your system. And then you take it for a couple of days after you get back to make sure it kills everything in your system if you get it.
Right.
So definitely a yellow fever shot is a must, and the malaria pills are optional. But I'll just have to let you know, everybody that I know that has been over there, that has traveled back and forth, has got malaria. It's not something that you can say, oh, I'm a black person, I'm immune to malaria. People that live over there in Africa, I know African-born people over there in Cameroon that I speak to all the time that get malaria.
Wow.
Over there all their lives and never left the country.
Wow.
If you think you could go over there and say, I'm a black man and I'm immune to malaria, that's not true. They get it over there. People die from malaria over there all the time.
Now, these things are not just subject to Africa, though. I think that's like where anytime you go to another country, there's some level of, shots that you're going to actually have to obtain if you don't want to be subject to those different diseases.
Well, I know West Africa, West and Central Africa, and I believe India, in some places they recommend a yellow fever shot. I'm not too sure about India, but it's recommended over there because it's a tropical disease.
Right.
Other places, like when you go to Europe and stuff like that, or the Caribbean, you don't have to take those shots because yellow fever is not prevalent over there. They don't have a history of yellow fever or another thing too to be subject to over there is like typhoid. I know a brother that lives over here on the motherland, and he's gotten everything that they say you could get. He's got, when he repatriated and moved over there, he's gotten just about everything that they say that you can get. That they tell you about before you go over there. So none of that stuff is myth. You just have to get your yellow fever shot. I would recommend, if you're visiting, to take the malaria medication before you get over there. Use a mosquito repellent, and just watch what you eat, because some places they don't practice the same type of sanitary practices that we normally practice over here. You got to make sure your food is cooked well. Some of them have water sources that are not so good over there.
Now I'm glad you brought that up.
No water like that.
I'm glad you brought that up. Now, Africa is always, in America, when we think of Africa, and I don't know if this is, because I've never been, but I don't know if this is like, just some hype or whatever, But, over here in America, when we think of Africa, we're told Africa is just, there's one group that says that Africa is like, this is the place to be. This is where you want to be. This is the land of the gold and the diamonds, everybody's rich out here. But we know everybody ain't rich, out there. It's like everybody not rich out here. But then you got another group of people who's saying that, Africa needs some water. Africa needs. A female told me that they didn't even have ice cream in Africa. So, things of that nature. What was your experiences as far as the poverty level and the Joneses and the riches? What was your experiences on that level?
When you go to the major cities, there's a lot of development in the major cities, especially near the capital, wherever they have the seat of government. That, the roads and the buildings are going to be pretty much nice in those areas because you have government officials in that area, and you have government officials from other countries coming to visit those areas and stuff like that. So those cities where they have like that financial center or the government center, those areas are going to be nice and developed. Nice hotels, you're going to see nice office buildings and stuff like that.
Right.
But once you, in the neighborhoods surrounding those areas, you're going to have modern homes, and with all the amenities like running water, electricity, and all that. But once you move outside of those areas, it's pretty much underdeveloped in a lot of those areas. The streets are real bad. The roads going into the rural and village areas are like dirt roads, and they really, really, really bad. The infrastructure over there is bad in a lot of areas. There are people that do live in huts and stuff like that out there, and there are people that don't live in huts and stuff like that out there. So it's a little bit of both. But overall, you're not going to have the same amenities over there as you have over here.
Right.
Most of the places that I've stayed were like middle class to upper middle class homes, and a lot of them didn't even have. Some of those homes didn't even have hot water. It was just like cold water.
Wow. Ansar School.
That I stayed where I had to bathe out of a bucket of water that they had to go down to a water pumping station.
Wow.
Water. Quality, and even some of the areas where they had homes, there were times where the electricity would cut off and stuff like that. And this is not even due to no bad weather. It's just, it'd be in and out sometimes. So, that's basically, for somebody to say they're going to repatriate over there and they have in their mind that they're going to be living in a nice home and all that, you have to be making good money out there. You have to have a good source of income out there.
Right.
In order to live in one of those homes.
Right.
They don't purchase their homes off of credit or get a mortgage to get their homes. They purchase their homes straight up. You don't go into stores over there and use credit cards to buy things over there.
So no credit card, huh?
Yeah, none of that over there, really.
Wow. There goes America. Because that's American success right there. The credit system is instrumental in the American success story. So,
yeah. And their perception of a lot of us over here is that we have money, when able to get a lot more things because we're living in a system where we could purchase things on credit, where they can't do that over here.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Wow. That's heavy, man, because and that explains why a lot of Africans look at Americans the way that they do, man.
Yeah.
That's really heavy, man.
They don't know that we didn't pay for that house. We
Right.
didn't pay for that car.
Right.
We paying notes, we paying car notes and paying mortgages and stuff like that. There's, a lot of us own cars and stuff like that, but when they see a lot of people driving high-end luxury cars, a lot of times those cars are not paid for.
Of course.
Or those cars are leased.
Of course.
Or,
Of course.
They have a different perception because they can't get it like that over there.
Right.
And another thing, too, for anybody who is thinking about repatriating over there, they don't have supermarkets, They don't have, supermarket chains where you can go in to buy your chicken or your fish or your vegetables or anything like that.
You serious?
They have marketplaces. Yeah.
Wow. So there's no equivalent, like up here, where I am up north, we have something called ShopRite and Pathmark and things of that nature. So you mean to tell me that there's no...
None of that here.
Wow.
You buy your stuff straight off the street. Your fish, your chicken, everything you buy, your meat, everything you buy is straight off the street. And some of those places have, like, it's exposed to the elements, it's exposed to flies and stuff like that.
Right.
Or what you have to do is try to get your stuff as fresh as possible.
Right.
And, cook it very well, So when you go to buy chicken, they actually have chickens, live chickens in a cage, and you pick your chicken out, and whatever chicken you pick out, they slaughter it for you and prepare it up for you so you can take it back home to cook.
Well, I can tell you this, half of what, for all the meat eaters, half of what meat eaters eat, if you actually saw the animal live when it was alive, you would stop eating it. You definitely would stop eating it.
Over there, it's still better to eat it like how they do. You pick out your chickens.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When you go buy your chicken in the supermarket, that chicken probably could have been slaughtered weeks ago. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Which is why they do the packaging and the preserving and all of that, because it's not actually fresh. You're right about that.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
But it's, for people who are not from over here that are not used to that, that's something that they would have to get used to when they go over there.
But most of all, got to get that money right, man. Just can't go ahead and run out there and think you back in the motherland and everything gonna be fly. Got to get that money right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you gotta have some type of plan, a business plan or a job out there. Most of the jobs that people get out there, you have to have some sort of skill or education to get those jobs.
Right.
Right. From what I've heard, they usually prefer to hire their own than to hire you unless you got, some specialized education, or higher education that you can offer that'll benefit, them and their company or whatever. Other than that, you'd have to have your own business, and you'd have to have a plan to how you're gonna run your business over there.
When you say that,
the process that you have to go through to even establish a business over there, you can't just go over there and expect everything. I'm gonna live off the land and all that. You're gonna need a place to live. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna be out there selling oils and incense. You know what I'm saying? You ain't buying none of that out there.
Wow. Yeah, that's real though. That's real.
Books or you have to have, if you're going to be a vendor, you're going to have, something to sell, and something that's going to bring in a good enough amount of income,
right,
to feed yourself and your family and to maintain whatever home that you got.
Right.
It's not that easy over there.
Right. And you definitely need to just start focusing on that now while you're here. If you're in the United States, you need to focus on that before you actually get out there. But it brings me back to a lot of the teachings once again of Dr. Malachi Z. York, because he always taught, that you should always, make that proper, preparation. You shouldn't just jump up and go, even though to some it may seem like, that's something that was always done, but that's not. Somebody, was actually planning it, and, you don't just go up and leave, you know what I'm saying? You make sure that if you can get up and leave, that you actually have the resources to move like that. So, you definitely got to know that something as simple as that, you don't just want to run to Africa or any country. I heard some people talking about going to Cuba, you know, and dealing with all the politics and everything there, man. But listen, man, it was good talking to you, bro. I definitely appreciate you, you know, sharing your experience with us, man. This is a beautiful thing, and it's very inspiring, and we want everybody to, you know, start sharing their story too as well. And you know, it's always good building with you, man. I haven't spoken to you in quite a while, and we still got to do some catching up, man. So we have some off the air talk, you know what I'm saying? And you know, get caught up, man, with things, and fill each other in on some things. But you know, before we go, man, I just want to ask you this, man. If Dr. Malachi Z. York was listening to our station and listening to you on the air with me right now, what would be your message or any words to the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York? Because we do know, for everybody who don't know, that he is incarcerated and currently serving a 135-year sentence and in the penitentiary there in Florence, Colorado. What would be, he's been there for 15 years too, by the way. So what would be your, you know, words from yourself, from the heart, to that very influential man?
There's not really too much I can really say to him that he doesn't already know. He knows his situation. You know, the only thing I can say out of concern and everything is, you know, I hope for his well-being, and you know, want him to stay strong, and you know, and to keep getting up and not losing hope every day, you know. And I see he's been doing that, because you know, it's been 15 years already, and you know, from what little I've heard, he's been hanging in there. You know, he didn't try to take himself out of here or anything like that.
Right.
He's still living. He's still keeping the hope alive, and you know, there's not really anything too much I could really say to him. You know, I appreciate everything that I've learned while studying under him, and everything that I've learned from him has contributed to the person that I am today. So I'm grateful for that. You know, I'm just highly disappointed everything turned out the way it did. You know, and I just wish it was otherwise, but you know, it is what it is at this point. You know.
Well, you definitely said a earful, man, and I think that you know. Yeah,
while I was over there in Ghana too, and I was touring around different places. You know, I visited the Kwame Nkrumah museum over there, and I visited the W.E.B. Du Bois home over there.
Wow.
And, when I went to W.E.B. Du Bois' former home over there in Ghana, you know, it's a tourist attraction right now.
Right.
I walked into one of the rooms, and I looked down on the table. I saw one of Malachi Z. York's books on there.
What? Wow.
I believe it was Jesus, the God of the Quran.
Wow.
On the table. And, you know, I was just like, I took a picture of it too. I'm all the way over here in Ghana, and this man's books is over here.
Wow.
His books have traveled around the world.
Wow.
You know, so yeah, I was so amazed I had to take a picture of it.
Yeah.
You know, I did take a picture of it.
Wow, that's big, man.
You know, it's good that you know, a lot of people you know, those books have opened my mind.
Right.
You know, and have taught me a lot about religion, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, and I was like, you know, this information is opening up a lot of people's minds around the world. You know, and giving them different perspectives on things that they've been taught. So, you know, I thought that was good. You know,
that had to be a sight, man. You know, to actually see Actually,
Real God.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Real God, because I wasn't expecting to see that.
Hopefully others, heard the message. And one thing for sure, Panabab Yanun is definitely affected by our failures just as much as he's affected by our successes. And the best thing that we can ever do for a man like Dr. Malachi Z. York, and any man that ever, or woman that ever does anything for you instrumental in your life positively, is to return that favor in you carrying on the tradition of success and never give up. Your ability to keep changing and developing and growing. And you definitely are doing that. And I just want to commend you on that. And I truly thank you, man, for you not ever giving up on yourself. You know what I'm saying? And those same decisions that Dr. York has to make and continue to make, believe it or not, we make them every day too. You know what I'm saying? We have to make those same decisions, during our course of life. So if he can do it, we definitely can do it. So from me to you, I thank you, man, for calling in and sharing your story once again. Just want you to know, brother, it's Ashug. I love you, man, and do not hang up. Want to keep you on the line so we can just talk about some things right quick. We right here live on WNT9 Radio. I'm your host, Brother Intellect, and you was listening to my brother, Michael Mitchell. So, till next week, peace. Wadu.
Free. Dr.